Hello guys, I am Vivek now. Today I am going to teach computer networks through my notes because I have made very good notes on computer networks. So, what is computer networks? Actually, um, we are always trying to send data from one area to another area. This is our main goal. So, data transferring is our main goal. So, to transfer data from one place to another place, we discovered computer networks, different protocols, different mechanism to transfer data with proper security and optimized way. So first, our computer. What is computer? Computer is who can compute. So before very means early time, computer uses the form decimal form to compute data. At that time computers are very big, and one operator is there who can operate the computer manually to compute data and all. And that time the format they are followed is decimal format. So after some time, when register came, what is register? Nothing but we can think like it is a bulb. So when bulb is on, we knew that something is coming, some electrical signal is coming, so we taken that as 1, and if bulb is not glowing, then we have taken that 0. So like that binary language came, and no operator is there to operate a computer. And with binary language binary language, we tried that all our data we can convert with binary, and our computer can easily understand the binary language. Like that, we tried everything. Like if we wanted 45 as our data to transfer, so we will change that to binary, and that binary data will easily computed by computers. And if what if we have to send string data? So uh, so a scientist called SKY, he discovered SKY value, with which we can transfer that data to any number, and that number can be easily converted into SKY value. Let's suppose we can take a data A, which is a string, but the SKY value of small a is 97, and we can easily convert 97 to binary. Now the introduction part is done. How we convert that data and how our computer will read that data, and now we will study about how computer will transfer data. So IP address came. What is IP address? So when internet came, many regions people are doing their own internet protocols. So no one can communicate with each other if they have different protocols. Let's suppose I am speaking in Hindi, and at my hometown they are speaking in Odia. So they can't understand my language, and I can't communicate with them. So a assembly meeting assembled, and they did some protocols with which all can follow that protocol, and all can communicate with each other through internet. That is called internet protocols. And what is IP address? IP address is means if you want to connect with internet, then you should have an IP address. From that you can, means if you don't have any address and the receiver don't have any address, then how data will go to the receiver? So they all should have a IP address. And then let's come to router. What is router? Our data can't go like go in air. So we need we need to we need we need some pipelines or wires to transfer data, and routers are the middlemen who always um, who means we can say they are like traffic police. If any junction is there and our data has to go straight, and if there is no traffic police, then our data may go right, because data will know. So router will perfectly move that data to perfect area by seeing the IP address. And if we see कि uh, router also means, if let's suppose my data packet have less energy, so router may amplify the energy, and router maintains the energy and all. Let's talk about the internet protocol stacks. We have IPv4 and IPv6. They are the most acceptable internet protocols of this generation. So what is IPv4? IPv4 Internet Protocol version 4. Internet Protocol version 4, and it have 4 bytes. 4 bytes means 32 bits. So if we have given a IP address of IPv4, then that will have 32 bits, and each IP address is divided into four parts to simplification and readability for human. Okay, so that will divide into 8 bits, and after that they are assigned to odd. And if we talk about IPv6, there will be 128 bits, and everything will divided in 16 bits up to 128 bits. Now let's talk about how anyone get IP address. So we all have our internet service provider. Okay, like my internet service provider is Airtel, your may be Jio, and BSNL, Idea, all have their internet service provider. When we type youtube.com, but if we want to reach to the youtube.com, we need to find their IP addresses, but we can't remember the IP address of everyone. So what we did, we will search their domain names. They all have their domain names, so we will search domain name, DNS search, domain name system. We will search the domain name, like I will search DNS, then it will go to my internet service provider. What my internet service provider will do, my internet service provider will go to RNS, which means RNS from is root name server. So my RNS will find कि I have searched youtube.com. RNS will see the .com part, and it will send us to the top level domain, the TLD, which is coming under .com. So it will send us to TLD according to the .com. In India it is .in, and other country it is .net also. So it will send us to top level domain, and our top level domain will according to the domain name, like YouTube. Now our top level domain will send us to the authoritative name server, the ANS, authoritative name server. And at that authoritative name server, there are many databases which have all the programs there, and our means all the IP addresses of programs there, and our TLB will give the address of ANS to the ISP. Then our ISP will go to the ANS. He will take the IP address from ANS, and then he will come to us and give us the IP address, and we will directly go to youtube.com. This is a very big process. We always saw the abstracted version, like I searched YouTube, it came it will. No, not that. In real world scenario, nothing is nothing happened in air. Everything has a logic. So it will like this. We get the IP address of youtube.com and we search the youtube.com. Now let's come to the classifications of IPv4. Why we need classification? We need classification because we want to distribute the IP address to every region, to big authorities, big. So how we will give this from this to this IP address to a big company like Google, and this to this IP address to a small company, small internet service provider company like Uninor. So it is not fair that we will give same IP address, means same quantity of IP address to a big company and a small company. All the big companies need very big service for very large number of IP addresses, and small company need very small number of IP address. And the company who are wanting the high quantity of IP addresses, their quantity will less, and the company who need less number of IP addresses, their quantity will more, because there are many small type of companies but not many big companies. Only a handful of big company will be there, and means we can see many more number of small companies are there. So how we will give, and how much we will give to small company, how much we will give to big company, to distribution and to region wise recognition. Ki when our router routing us to that region, how we will know we have to go to that region? Through IP address, through network addresses, we know where we have to go, network ID where we have to go. This is the reason why classification happens. So we have class A, class B, class C, class D, and class E. Classification. In class A, we will recognize this through the first 8 bit of the number. If the first 8 bit number will go to 0 to 127, then it will class A. 128 to 191, it will be class B. 192 to 223, it will be class C. 224 to 239, it's class D, and 240 to 255, it's class E. So let's come to how it is dividing. In class A, we will fix our first 0. So either it will first 0 or 1, then it will be 50% divided. So rest of the 31 bit can be, rest of the 7 bit from first 8 bit can be changed easily, and it will be given to the user. So it will be 0 to 127. Class B, we will fix first 2. First one we have to do 1 because we have already done 0. We have to do 1, and we will fix the second one 0. 1 0 is fixed, and next 6 bits we can change in our class B. Then for class C, we can see 1 1 0 will be fixed, and rest 5 will be non-fixed. In class D, 1 1 1 0 is fixed, and rest are not fixed. In class E, 1 1 1 1 is fixed, because class D and class E have same number of IP addresses. So now let's come to what is IANS. INA, International Assigned Number Authority. They are responsible for assigning, means classification of this IP address, and they are responsible for assigning IP address to big companies and small companies. Next, let's come to what is network ID and what is host ID. Let's suppose we have taken the class A. The first 8 bit says the network ID of the IP address, and the rest 24 bit will tell us the host ID. Means we can give us to the users, but okay, we can give us to the user. We will come to network address and broadcast address later. And like 8 bit are network ID. So for network ID we have 2 to the power 24 number of users. So this is a very big thing. And now so let's come to let's come to host ID. In host ID we have two IDs are two IP addresses are reserved. The first one is the let's suppose we have a network ID, and we have network ID, and we can change the host ID. We have one network ID. So after getting one network ID, the first address, that is network ID and 00000 is the address for the network, that is called network address. Means if we want to recognize this network, this range of network, then we have to come to the network address. This is the network address, and the last ID, which is network ID and 255.255.255.255. This is the broadcast ID. If we want to send the message to every user coming in this network, then how we will transfer data to everyone in a single time? Here we will use the network, the broadcast ID. So the user will only use 224, 2 to the power 24 minus 2 host IDs. Now let's come to class B. In class B also, let me tell you two more IDs. Like one is 0.00000. So this is a IP address which is reserved. Reserved means this is a IP address is used. Means if we are connected to the internet first time, then we will use 000 to contact our ISP, so that we can connect to we will connect to the internet. And how we will go to ISP? We will use the 000 IP address, and we will go to ISP. He will give us the IP address to connect to the internet, and we will be connected. So this is this IP address 0, and one more IP address is going to 127, which is the loopback address. So in class A we have 1 to 126, total 126 number of network ID in class A. Let's come to class B. In class B, the network ID is of 16 bit, and another 16 bit is host ID. So so we know one in class B 10 is fixed. So 14 bits are available, and 2 to the power 14 number of network ID is there for class B, and the rest 16 bit are of user. From that 2 bits are from there two addresses are reserved. One is broadcast address and one is network address. Let's go to class C. Here after 16 we will come to 24. So here 24 bit are network ID and rest 8 bit are host ID. So from 24 bit 3 bits are reserved in class C. So rest 21 bit are network ID and 8 bit are host ID. From that 8 bit, that is 256 host ID, two bits, two IDs are minus. One is broadcast address and one is network address. So let's come to class D. In class D, no network ID and no host IDs are there, and in class D 4 bits are reserved. So total 28 bits are left. So 2 to the power 28 addresses only there. And class D used to multicasting class D is used to multicasting. And class E also have 2 to the power 28 address and are reserved for the future uses. Okay, now I will say some points like who need networks in crore will go to class A, who need in lakhs will go to class B, who need in thousand like university and all, they will take ID from class C. Class D will used for multicasting, example Zoom calling. Now broadcasting in same network and multicasting, broadcasting only in same network and multicasting can be in different network. So let's come to the types of network. How many types of network we have? We have LAN, we have MAN, we have WAN. LAN means local area network. Like if we have 5 devices and we are connected to a single router, then this is a local area network. All devices in the local are using a single IP address to connected to the internet through the router. The router have one public IP address and it will this IP address will use by every device is connected to me. Like if I will give you an example, I have my LAN here and router here. So when my roommate and I connected to internet through the Wi-Fi, we both have the same IP addresses. If I will display you that what is my IP address of my mobile which is connected to the Wi-Fi and what is the IP address of my PC which is connected to the Wi-Fi. There will be same IP address. So in LAN we have same IP address. Now let's come to the private IP address. If we want to address the proper device in a local area network, then how can we? So in a LAN, all the devices are given their private IP address, private IP address through which they will recognize. So router will remember which private ID. So when let's suppose our one device is sending a request outside the LAN network, then router will convert the router will convert the private IP of that device to the public IP, and he will send the request to the receiver. And when the request came, router will map the private IP that he requested this. So when requested to this IP, this sender IP, and a router will map that request to with that sender's private IP, and then it will send to the that device. Okay, then let's come to MAN. What is MAN? manage metropolitan area network. Means when a when number of LAN connected to each other, then it is called metropolitan area network. And they all have the all routers have different IP address, and they the device in one LAN and the device at another LAN, they can maybe a single private IP, because they are in different, their public IP is different, their public IP of that router is different. Okay, so let's come to WAN. What is WAN? Wide area network. Like if we are analyze that how our country is communicating with USA, Japan, Russia, and Vietnam, everywhere. Their uh, data cables are there, connected the both countries from under the water. So whatever we have to send data to USA and Russia, Canada, anywhere, we have the pipelines under the water, which transfer our data. Big companies like Google, Geo, and all, they have um, did the pipeline works. If any company wants, they can borrow that and they can use the data line for transferring data. Let's come to the topology, types of topology. There have how many topologies? 1, 2, 3, and 4. There are 5 topology. One is bus type topology, one is a ring type topology, one is star type topology, and one is mesh topology, and another is hybrid topology. In bus topology, all the devices are connected to a single cable. If any interruption came between between anywhere, then a large number of people can't connect with each other. This is a drawback of this. If we tell like in ring topology, if any one connection is broken, then also they all have a connection now also. But if any two areas connection will be cut, then it is completely gone. Okay, let's come to star topology. Star topology, a switch on is there, with which every devices were connected. So if any one device get disconnected, then also all are connected with the switch. So but if switch is broken, then everyone gone. Then now mesh topology. Mesh topology, like every device is connected to each other. Every device is connected to each other. Only the drawback is their wiring is messy and all. And now we come to hybrid topology. In hybrid topology, we can mix any, means we can mix bus topology and ring topology in one. So this is the hybrid topology. Okay, let's come to how how we transport data to one device to another device. From one device to another device, there have a router which can transfer our data. So when we transfer the data, we put our IP address as a source IP there, and put the IP address of the receiver also there. So with that information, our router routes that data to proper areas. Now when our request data reach to server, then server will put the requested data on packet, and also put source ID and destination ID from sending area also. He will put sender IP address and receiver IP address, so that the requested data can come to us also. Now one more point, that our ISP will know we went to which site, but ISP can't recognize what data we have fetched, what on which content we are watching, but he knows कि हम कहाँ गए थे. Like if we have visited youtube.com, our ISP will know that we have visited youtube.com, because he is the man who gave us the IP for youtube.com. But he can't recognize what data we have requested to youtube.com and what data we fetched from youtube.com. This is a good thing, means privacy. So like everyone means there is a myth that if we will use incognito mode, then no one can know what we have searching, what we have watching. So this is nothing. They know everything. Like only the good thing incognito mode did for us is it never stores the history in our UI. This is the only benefits of incognito mode. But that is not like that. Ki, YouTube means our ISP will not know where we have gone, where what we have done. He recorded everything. Let's come to how VPN works then. Like if any website or anything ban in our areas, then how VPN means allows us to go to that website. Like any adult website is banned in India, but everyone means most of the people were accessing that by using VPN and all. So how this is happening? Some people says the VPN changes our IP address, but no, not like that. VPN will not change our IP address. It just bypasses our IP address from the ISP. Let me explain you. Here is the ISP. Here is the client, which is us. Here is the server, VPN server, and here is the adult website. So if we want to go to directly go to the adult website, then we have to search the domain name from the at our UI, and it will the request will go to the ISP through domain name search, that give me the IP address of this. So if our ISP have a blog list and the website is in the blog list, then our ISP will reject that blog list. Our ISP will reject that request we have did just now. But how VPN works? So when when we install a VPN and activate it, it gives us a IP address. It gives us a new IP address. Not it changes our IP address. Our IP address is there, but it gives us a IP address so that we connect to the VPN server. So when we connect to this VPN server, means we have the VPN IP address. So we will directly send request by putting the receiver IP address as VPN IP address. So we will send the request not to ISP. We send the request to VPN server, and the VPN server will send whatever we requested. It will put his IP address in the sender part and give the IP address of that adult website at the receiver part. So because let's suppose VPN is from Germany, and in Germany adult websites are not banned, then that server will easily fetch that IP address of adult website and data. So when it came, when the adult website gave the data to the Germany VPN, it will give to us. Our ISP will not get that, because ISP is thinking we are requesting to the Germany server VPN, Germany server IP address. But actually, what our VPN is done, what our VPN is doing, he is fetching the data from the adult website and giving to us only, because our data is fully encrypted. Our ISP will not get that we are watching this data. He only sees that we are fetching data from the Germany server and not from the any adult website. So he will let us visit there, and everything is done. This is how our virtual private network, that is VPN, it works. So if we think means if we see a flow how it goes. So when we connect to VPN server we encrypted, will make a tunnel of encrypted tunnel with which we can send our data and all. So now we browse some adult website. Now DNS request go inside tunnel. VPN server receive the request. VPN server performs DNS lookup, then get the IP address from the adult website, and now it will sends us the data through VPN server. Now VPN server encrypt that data and send to us, because the encryption our ISP will not get that. Okay, now another catch also come when we request some data, then through the flow of the data, our ISP might got that we are doing something illegal, because through the flow they can guess only. They cannot properly say that you are doing illegal thing. They only can guess. Okay, now let's move to the dark web. How dark web works. So dark web means every .onion websites are the dark web thing. We can say every means every illegal weapon business, murdering thing always takes place in dark web. So how it works, how anyone how everyone got so secure that they are doing this illegal things in dark web, because the dark web uses the Tor browser. What is Tor browser? Tor browser is nothing but a browser which use 3-layer encryption in their requesting and sending data transfer. They use 3-layer encryption, because let me explain you. Here is the client, here is the server from which we want to request, but between them 3 layers will be there. There is the entry node, there is a middle node, and there is a exit node. The entry node server, middle node server, and exit node server. These 3 servers have their own they have their own IP address. So when you request anything, the requesting data will go to the entry server. There will be IP address change because that entry server will put his IP address as source ID, and the middle node as a destination ID. Then it will go to middle node, then it will go to exit node, and then it will go to the receiver node, and between the data passing at the three nodes, they encrypt in three levels: encryption 1, encryption 2, encryption 3. When that will go catch by the uh, server there, that will decrypt three times and read the data, then send the data then send the data by encryption, and again this three layer will encrypt that again and again three times the requested data, and then when it comes to us, our Tor browser will again decrypt it three times and show to us. Here, when the data reach to receiver, that receiver will don't know who did the request, because the IP address, the source IP address that server will got is the IP address of that exit node, not us, and we will also not know which server gave us the data, because the source ID we will got after receiving data is the IP address of that entry node. So this is a very secure browser. Now let's come to the IP address, and we have OSI model and done. So what is IP now? Okay. Now let's think about subnet masking. So what is subnet masking? So to find the area where we have to reach, we means the team which are assigning IP addresses, they have decided कि this network ID, means our ISP also, our internet service provider also decided this is the region to which I have given this network ID. This is the region I have given another network ID. So up to that network ID, it is fixed to that region only. We cannot change that network ID at the time of routing or anything. Means let's suppose we have 32 bits and this region got the network ID of 24 bits. Then at the end of the IP address we will write 24, means up to 24 this is the network ID of this area, and another how many bit left, that is 8 bits left, means 2 to the power 8, 256 ID were given to this area. So when our router routing anything, so according to the network he will decide the region, and according to the network ID he will decide the region and send the request there. This is only the concept of subnet masking. Now let's come to OSI model. This is a very important thing, how our data traveling, how it is encrypted, how it is given the IP address. So our OSI model have 7 layers. One is application layer, second is presentation layer, third is session layer, then transport layer, then network layer, then data link layer, then physical layer. With this all layers, our data getting processed. So let's come to the application layer. What is application layer? Let's come to the physical layer. What is physical layer? Physical layer is nothing but how our data is passing from one area to another area through the cables, routers, and everything. Like in physical manner, we use cable and connector to pass the data, then repeater in every router. Let's suppose the signal of that data gets lowered, then our router will maintain the data strength so that it can uh, go wherever they want. Now, data rate controller means they control the data, how much data we have to send now, how much they will control. Not like that we are sending very much data to everywhere. So like now come to the encoding part. Encoding part, like if our connectors they are only able to pass the analog data, then our encoder will convert that digital data to analog data. Then that analog data will again encoded from this where our some binary signal, analog data to binary signal, and then that will be read by our device easily. Okay, now let's come to the data link layer. This is a very important layer. Here we have hop to hop delivery, giving physical address, means the MAC address. Then error detection and handling also happens in data link layer. Then framing of the data, then flow control, then access control. Let's suppose come to the MAC address. Every devices in our world, they have their personal MAC addresses. No two devices have same MAC addresses. So this is a concept how we can connect to one MAC address to another MAC address. Like let me one device can have more than one MAC address. MAC address ensures that the data transfer from one hop to another hop. Like let's suppose we are passing our, means we are sending a letter from Mumbai to Odisha. And how it will done? It will not like that. Data will directly go from Mumbai to Odisha. It will go to routers. Like let's suppose a center is there in UP and Lucknow, then it will come to then it will come to West Bengal, then it will come to Odisha. So from hop to hop it is transferring, and here we have given the IP address of sender is the Odisha. The IP address of sender is Mumbai and receiver is Odisha. Okay, but how it will go from UP to West Bengal? This is the concept of MAC address came. Here I will write the MAC address of Mumbai to UP. Mumbai and UP I will write the MAC address, then it will go to UP. Then UP's team will write the MAC address at the sender's side, UP's MAC address, and then they will write West Bengal MAC address. Then the West Bengal MAC address will write their MAC address, sender MAC address, and they will send that to Odisha. This is the concept of MAC address. Now let's come to NIC. What is NIC? NIC is nothing but network interface card. How many different ways to connect to internet? How many ways our device have to connect to the internet? That number of NIC will be there, the network interface card, and that number of MAC also our device will be there. Like now, MAC address have 48 bits, and 24 bits and 24 bits are divided. This is the organization, means first 24 bit will be fixed, and according to that, one address, one 24-bit address will give to the any big company, and the another 24-bit they can 2 to the power 24 devices they can make and sell. If their address will done and completely done, then they can take another MAC address. So this is the thing. Now let's come to the ARP address resolution protocol. If A wants to send to any private IP address, he will broadcast a message that in request tell broadcast the let's say in a LAN there are 4 devices, and I want to communicate with another devices within the LAN. So how we will do? I can do through MAC. I can do through MAC address. I can transfer data through MAC address. So how I will get that MAC address? I have private address. All have private address. So I will broadcast a message that I want to send the data to this private IP address. This private IP address. So the IP address who have that private IP address will answer me that yes, I have this IP address and this is my MAC, sent to the data to the MAC address. This is the way we can communicate through MAC address. Like next is error detection and handling. So in data link layer, when data transferring from hop to hop, there may be any data corruption will be there. So the data link layer have the responsibility to tackle this error detection and handling. Now we came framing. So when data come from network layer to data link layer, that have IP address of sender and receiver, but they don't have the the MAC addresses. So here data link layer will attach the MAC address, sender and receiver MAC address, and send the data to the next layer. Now flow control came. Data must send by the sender to router in a control manner, not like that our router is not able to take 500 MB data, but we are sending the 500 MB data. This is not the way. We have to control the flow. We will first send the 100 MB, and again our router means free, then again we will send 100 MB. Like that, our data link layer have the responsibility to give the data in a proper manner. Now let's come to access control. Now access control. Let's we are using bus topology to transfer data, and in our bus there are four. Let's suppose four devices are connected. This is our bus A, B, C, and D. Let's suppose C transferring data to D. At that time, if B will transfer the data to A, then C to D data will going like this, and from D to A data will going like this. So data may be collide if we will not control the accessing of the data line at correct time. Data transfer may be collide. So this is the responsibility of data link layer to control the access part also. Next we will come to network layer, where IP addresses were given. At the data link layer, the data packets are called frame because we are giving MAC address. In network layer, data link layer called packet because the data have only data, and they will give them packets. They will give them source IP and receiver IP. Then that will call packet. So so our network layer is responsible for routing responsibility also, key where we have to route. Let's suppose our router is connected to 5 routers, then all routers have their nested routers. Then this router is responsible for sending the data to proper router, so that he will guard to the receiver end properly and with less time. So this is the this process is responsibility of network layer. Now fragmentation and reassembly. So let's suppose our one router is there, 2 routers are there, and this router have capacity of sending 500 MB, and this router have the capacity of receiving 100 MB only. So if we send 500 MB at a time, then this router only can catch 100 MB and 400 MB data will be lost. So this is the this responsibility is of network layer, that our router will send 100 MB, then again 100 MB, then again 100 MB by fragment the data, and again when it reach to the sender, then our network layer have the responsibility to again reassemble that data and use that data or represent that data in the presentation layer. Okay, now let's come to the congestion control. So if our data is traveling in a very optimized way, then space optimized way means let's suppose our bandwidth is 100 MB per second, but we are sending data from different routers at a time, then our that 100 MB per second bandwidth can't handle this much of data at a time. This is called a congestion part. So our network layer have the responsibility to tackle this situation and maintain the flow of the data without any congestion. So let's come to the data link. Let's come to the transport layer. What is transport layer? Transport layer is responsible for end-to-end delivery. Means he will not responsible for the delivery what is going on between hop to hop and between the data links, and what he is responsible for end-to-end delivery. What is I have in this end, and how it will getting so in receiver end. This thing will this thing is responsible to the transport layer only. Okay, so it is also called port to port delivery. Let's suppose let's suppose we have a device, and we opened 10 tab in our Chrome. So we will send a request from one tab. Okay, so request will go, and it will go to the receiver end, and the requested data will come to our device. Then how our data will know that I have to go to this tab and I have to reprint the data. Like if we will request from YouTube, and data will come, and there are multiple tabs, YouTube, Wikipedia, Coder Army will be there. So how the data will go to youtube.com only. So this is the thing where the work of transport layer came, and the concept of port came. So how much data means how much number of tab we have opened, that much number of port number we are assigned. So when when our so when our data came, the data have a port number, so it will go to that port number and getting shown on that tab. Okay, so port number is of 16 bit, and that will be 2 to the power 16 bits, means 65,536 ports. From 0 to 65,335, that will be 65,336 ports. And from 0 to 1023 are reserved, and from 1024 to 49,151 ports are also reserved for the registered big companies, and only the usable for the users are from 50,000 to 65,000, around 15 to 16k, around 15 to 16k are there. Okay, then this is the way how it is done. Now let's come to the transport layer protocol, that is TCP protocol and UDP protocol. Let's talk about TCP protocol. What is TCP protocol? If I am a sender and there is a receiver, then TCP protocol is assures the reliable data transfer. Like here, three-way handshake came. TCP in TCP protocol, how data transfer takes place. First, a receiver will send a request message to the sender will send a receiver request message to the receiver that I am going to send the data. So receiver will acknowledge that okay, I am ready to catch your data, let's send the data. Then again sender will send a final acknowledgement that okay, you are ready, I am now starting to send data. This is the three-way protocols. This is a three-way handshake system. In this manner, if we will not lose any data. Like if our receiver is not ready and we are just sending data, then data may be lost. So like if we are sending any PDF, if we are sending any very important chat, text messages, then there is no chance to data lost. If data will lost, then the whole meaning of that message will be gone. So here TCP data will TCP protocol will help. And if we'll talk about UDP, the way like means we are video calling, we are doing any live video call session or streaming any gaming live stream in YouTube, then if any data packets will lost, then only the audio quality or video quality will be lost at the time of live. But this will not affect anything, because whatever the viewer wants to see, they can get at that time. Only the video quality and audio quality will be down, but data will be reached. So this TCP is slow, because this use 3 process to send data. So this thing is used at their use case actually. Now we have flow control, error control, or error checking in transport layer also. So transport layer will responsible for flow control from one end to another end, not between that. He will think the flow control from one end to another end, and the if we talk error control or error checking, that will also the between sender end to receiver end. Now let's talk about how in a LAN we are connecting to the outer part, and what port how port is responsible for this. So जब एक ही लेन से मल्टीपल डिवाइस रिक्वेस्ट करेंगे, one lane is there and we are requesting multiple devices are requesting to go outside, then what our router does, router will assign them a different port numbers and stores that. So when the requested data come with that port number, router will again update that port number to which he already mapped. And the public IP, because all have the same public IP, we have to go to the port method, so that we can easily identify who is the which device this request I have to send to which device, and like that we use the porting system in sending and receiving. Now session layer came. What session layer does? Session layer creates sessions, it did authentication, it did authorization. Authorization means after authentication what you have power to do in the application. This is the authorization part and done by the session layer. Then the checkpoint, like if we are downloading any movie and the movie is of 10 GB and you are downloading up to 6 GB, downloaded up to 6 GB, and after that your data, your connection get lost from the internet, then if you don't have any checkpoint feature in session layer, then we have to download again from 0 to 10 GB. But you have the checkpoint feature, then only you have to download that part of data which at the time you lost the data. Now let's come to presentation layer. Presentation layer is how the layer will present the data to us, and at presentation layer what encryption, decryption happen, data compression happen, data translation means ASCII value to UTF-16, UTF-24, anything, data transfer, so that our computer can recognize that and all. Now application layer. Application layer provide network interface, like we have the interface and how we are watching this the interface, and anything we are clicking and we getting anything, any data fetched, any we getting any data, then this is the work of application layer. Here network transparency also there, means how the data getting transferred from any region, means how data transferring from any sender to me. The application layer is will not show how data will getting transferred. The responsibility of application layer is to only show the data, not how. So this is the network transparency. Now we have completed everything in network in computer networks. Thank you.